morning, art historians. Today is Friday, so that means Famous Art Friday. So today I wanted to talk to you about an artist that I often see in museums, and his name is Alberto Giacometti. And so I'm going to read to you a little bit about him, and then afterwards we're going to, with some pipe cleaners, try and make one of the Giacometti sculptures, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. All right, so I'm just going to set these aside over here, and I'm going to read you a little bit about him. First, I want to show you in the book that I have. Remember that book I told you about last time that I love? So anyhow, in this book, Alberto Giacometti has sculptures here. There's one here, there's one down here, there's one up here, and there's one there. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of a difference in some of the sculptures going on. Do you see what's happening? Do you see the difference? I'll give you a minute to look. Look closely. Think about how the sculptures are situated. Are they moving or not moving? So let me read, and then I'll show you again, and then I'll see if you can pick it out. Alberto Giacometti. In 1901, he was born in Borgonovo, Switzerland. He's the son of a painter, Giovanni Giacometti. At age 21, he moved to Paris to be an apprentice, which is like a student, of Émile Antoine Bourdelle, who was a sculptor, who worked for another artist called Auguste Rodin. He worked a little bit in the Surrealist style for some time. During World War II, he stayed in Switzerland before going back to Paris. In 1947, he created a man pointing overnight for his first exhibition. So he created a sculpture in one night for an exhibition. In 1962, at age 61, he won the acclaimed sculpture prize with a show of over 100 works in the Venice Biennale. In 1966, he died of heart disease. So let me read you a little bit about these sculptures, though, that I showed you. Alberto Giacometti says, he said, "I am not sculpting the human figure, but rather the shadow that is cast." Interesting. So he's a Swiss sculptor and a painter. He works in Paris. Giacometti is best known for his very tall, very thin figures. These are the images that I showed you. If you go into a museum and you see one of these, you will definitely say, oh, that's a Giacometti. Early in Giacometti's career, he was inspired by African art and oceanic art, and also by Cubism and Surrealism. We'll talk about those some other day. And then later in his life, he began working from nature. And for a time, he was obsessed with creating minuscule sculptures. So for some time, he did like really tiny sculptures. But eventually, he moved into the distinctive style with which we associate his name. When you go to a museum, you will definitely see one of these sculptures. And then you'll say, yep, there's Giacometti. And that's what he became famous for. So Giacometti was a perfectionist, and you might look at these sculptures and think, if you see these in person, they're really, really like rough. And it looks like somebody was trying to throw together a sculpture of a person with clay, but they didn't finish it because they've got really rough edges. Anyway, so it says he was seeking perfection. He often remade his figures again and again. Even when he became enormously famous and successful, he still destroyed work he didn't like or put it aside to take it up again years later. So that's one thing I always want to talk to you guys about and remind you of, is that artists, even though they're famous, they still have the same thoughts that you and I have when we make things. He got very, very frustrated with his things that he made, and if he didn't like it, he would destroy it, or he would just push it aside and pick it up again later and rework it. Okay, so now to the point that I wanted to talk to you about, like we talked about at the beginning. Did you see the difference? Can you figure out the difference? Look carefully. Think about the two different types of human forms we see. There's male and female forms we see in art history. Do you see a male and do you see a female form? So Giacometti always sculpts his females standing still with their arms down at their side and their legs together, standing still. And the men that he sculpts are often they look like they're walking, but some of them are in some kind of action pose. But for the most part, if you go to a museum, you will see a form that looks like it's walking. So when you look at that and that, you'll be able to say, yep, that's a male figure. And if you see one with their feet together, standing still, you'll know that that's a female figure. If you look closer, you'll be able to see the shape, like the physique of a male versus the physique of a female. But if you see them from far away, you can just look at the feet and say, are the feet together? Then it's probably a female form. Are the feet apart? Then it's probably a male form. Anyway, that was always something that I thought was fun and interesting about a Giacometti, and that I like to point out to my kids when we're at the museum. I can point it out across the room, and I can say, there's a Giacometti, is it female or male? And they'll take a guess. So anyway, I wanted to try and make a Giacometti sculpture today, and I told you I have some pipe cleaners. It's really sad I only have yellow, but it is what it is. So for the first one that I'm going to try, I'm just going to wing it here. I haven't tried this yet, so you're going to try with me. But I have two different colors so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I haven't cut these. These are like straight out of the package. So I'm going to fold them both in half. Do you call these pipe cleaners? I call them pipe cleaners. I've always called them pipe cleaners. I was taught to. That's what the name was for me. Maybe you guys call them chenille sticks. All right, so I'm going to fold this other one. And then I'm going to squeeze it down so it's pinched. All right, and then I'm going to just overlap them and stick them together, pulling them apart a little bit. I'm going to stick them together like this and pull them. Okay, so can you guess where I'm going to go with this? Okay, so I'm going to leave these two, the yellow one, as the legs, and then I'm going to try and work these upper ones into the upper part of the body and the head. Actually, you know what? I might need to twist these together and make some of these the body. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go down just a little bit, and I'll make that part of the body. So I'll twist. I twisted this part together, so that'll be part of the body. I'm going to twist a little bit of this together. So like about that, let me see, I'll hold it from the top. About that, I would say, is the body. So this part down here, and then like this part right here. Now I'm going to try and make a head. So I'm just going to bend this around. All I did was bent a loop, and then I'm going to bend this one too around there. Excuse me. So I'm going to do that. I kind of have a blob for a head, and I'm going to take this whole part up here and give it one twist around, maybe another twist. There we go. So I've got kind of a head going on, yeah? And a body, yeah? And legs. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. I want that body to stay still on top. I wonder if it's going to stay still. Should I make a female form or a male form? Right now it kind of looks like a male form, doesn't it? I'm going to give it some feet. Feet. Okay, I've got some feet going on. You see them? So this could be like the pointing man. There, he's pointing up to the sky like, hey, look up there. There you go. What do you think? Did I do it? I don't think he's going to stand though. I'll try. You know. There's no way he's going to stand. So if you want to try and do these, maybe you can put a little bit of tape on the feet so they stand up. The thing that I always thought that I would add to this, if I really did want to make this look like a Giacometti sculpture, is maybe some thick paint and use my fingers to pinch the paint and pinch the paint on here so it kind of sticks to the chenille stick and looks really rough like the sculpture. Here. He's not going to stand. He's not standing. See how thin the figure is? It's super, super, super skinny. And then, like, I just think I would pinch paint on there, and it would just look like the sculpture. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe on this part I would put a little bit of like flour dough, or you know how you can make homemade flour dough, or even Play-Doh or whatever you have at home. You just squish a little bit of that on there, and then you can pinch the paint on top, and then maybe that would give it a little bit of the like the chest that it needs, and the shoulders that it needs, and the hips that it needs. So to get the body part in the middle rather than just the stick part. And then the paint that you pinch on would be perfect just for the legs and the arms and the feet and the head. Anyhow, so that's my famous Art Friday for today. Alberto Giacometti, very famous for the sculptures. Oh, these sculptures are not as tall as I am. They're pretty tall, but they're not as tall. Excuse me. They're not as tall as you or me. Actually, they might be kind of as tall as you, depending on how tall you are. But they are often up on blocks when you see them. And if they're on the floor, they're usually in a space where you won't walk near them because they don't want you to bump into them, tip them over. That would be bad. Anyway, Alberto Giacometti, famous Art Friday. I hope you had fun today learning about Alberto Giacometti, and I hope that you have chenille sticks and you can try this at home. Give it a shot. Share with me on Instagram, tag me in it, hashtag MakeArtWithJocelyn, and also tag me in it with Jocelyn's Perduto Art. Have a great day. See you later.